It's the Shatkin First Down pregame show, presented by Dr. Todd Shatkin and the Aesthetic Associates Center, with your hosts, Rich Gaenzler and Dr. Jared Shatkin, and our special guest from CBS Sports, Chris Trapasso. Now, from the Shatkin Sports Network studios in Amherst, here are your hosts, Rich Gaenzler and Dr. Jared Shatkin.
Welcome to another edition of the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. Mafia is going to be here, special Bills guest as well. I'm Rich Gaenzler, Dr. Jared Shatkin, as we open the show, as we always do, talking about the game from the week past. Of course, the divisional matchup between the Bills and Dolphins, which ended with all kinds of excitement with the Tyler Bass record-setting 61-yard field goal. And let's start there. And I'm not going to talk about the field goal in particular. Let's talk about time management for the Bills. And it starts with the timeout lost by the challenge on the Tua run for the first down. What did you make of that? Were you okay with that? And they probably, I think the Bills could have used that timeout in the end of the game situation as they approached the Bass field goal.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I kind of agreed with also challenging that play. I mean, it's a fourth down, and it's a big play in that situation. If somehow his knee was down before the first down yard marker, then it would have been a huge play in the Bills' favor. So I'm okay with what they did, it didn't really cost us at the end because we ended up making that big field goal.
In terms of Bass, did you think they were going to kick the field goal at that moment?
No, I truly didn't. I was under the impression that they might punt it away and kind of go into overtime and try to play it that way. But, you know, obviously now I'm happy that they kicked it, and I think it gave Tyler Bass a lot of confidence. You saw that in the locker room. The guys rallied around him. He's part of the team, and maybe this kind of sparks something going forward where he has confidence to kick those long field goals the rest of the season, and that could be huge for us.
Yeah, for sure. And the special teams were good in general. I mean, Codrington with a big punt return that got it down to the Miami 37. That was great. The only problem with that is it ends up in a field goal, not a touchdown. They still got points. But everywhere else, you know, I thought the Bills, especially in the second half, were very good. Run game looked terrific. All three backs were great.
Yeah, no, I think all three backs have been great kind of the whole year. I'd like to see Ray Davis kind of get a little bit more of that load of, because I think he only had 4 carries in the whole game. I wish he would get up to that point where he's at like 10 to 12. He's averaging almost 5 yards a carry. And, you know, James Cook's a great player, but I think that change of pace sometimes really kind of stabilizes the offense. When Davis goes in there, he reads his blocks differently, and it just is kind of a different type of running back than James Cook.
Let's fast forward to the pass game. 8 different receivers, including Ray Davis on the 63-yarder, which, by the way, was the longest play from scrimmage for the Bills this year. Go figure, on a flare pass to the outside. Talk a little bit about that play, because it looked like Josh kind of visualized and changed the play when it happened, because he saw a blitz coming and knew that that outside was going to be wide open. So a great play change and then perfect execution.
So I think that's kind of part of what Josh Allen has brought to the table more this year, where maybe he's not making those crazy plays, but he's also checking into plays that end up working. His brain is starting to become a big part of his game. And that play in particularly, yeah, they were blitzing off that same side, so you throw it right at him. Then you got a talented player in space who goes 63 yards for a touchdown. The worst that could have happened there was probably 10 yards and a first down. So, I mean, Ray Davis makes the second effort, but Josh makes the heads-up play to check into that play.
Yeah, Shakir was great, as he always has been all year long. Kincaid the most targets. Coleman, of course, had the issue with what ended up being a Jalen Ramsey catch, which should have been a catch and probably a touchdown on that particular play. Comes back, gets a nice catch later in the game. Obviously is involved in the big Jordan Poyer play, which was really instrumental in the game at that point. And then there's Mack Hollins. And I want to talk about Mack Hollins because I firmly believe that championship teams need guys like that.
Yeah, he's definitely a glue guy, and he's a guy that doesn't really make any mistakes, right? So he's not going to go out there and win the one-on-one battle all the time, but he's also not going to drop a crucial catch. He's going to understand his blocking assignment. He's going to make good special teams plays. And besides that, he's actually a pretty talented football player there. He's a strong wide receiver, and he has a little bit of yards after the catch as well.
You know, we've been kind of talking around the shoot of the show today about how exciting the game was. I mean, the chunk plays, 15 chunk plays for Miami, 10-plus yards. The Bills had 12 10-plus yard chunk plays, which means what? The defenses on both sides weren't very good in this game, especially the Bills. They gave up 149 on the ground. They just weren't able to set the edge. And even in the pass game, I mean, we talked about the backs leading into the Dolphin game, but man, Achane with that little flare pass, which seemed to almost always be not defensed by the Bills. that killed them. So talk a little bit about the defense and what needs to happen, because Tua looked fantastic, only 3 incompletions the whole game. Hill and Waddle came alive late in that game. What do the Bills have to do to kind of lock things up?
Well, I think we got to get some better play out of that interior defensive line, and we have 2 really talented guys who haven't really shown their potential yet this year. Ed Oliver was one of the guys that every week in the show last year we talked about him making another huge play, and he's really kind of been a little bit of nothing the whole year. And, you know, Daquan Jones, another guy who started last season off so hot before he gets injured. This year, again, we're having some trouble there in the interior D-line. I don't want to give them all the blame, because I do think Achane is a very dynamic back. He's so fast, and when you get him in space, it's almost impossible to take him down. But it's a real problem, especially when you have another really good running game coming up with the Indianapolis Colts, who really just want to run the ball. So
it's hard to give the Dolphin head coach any credit, but I think he called a very good game offensively for the Dolphins. They found where the Bills were weak and took advantage. Needless to say, though, the Bills continue. They win again, now 7-2. The Colts coming up. We'll talk about them in the final segment, but coming up next, very special Bills guest as we continue on the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show.
RV shoppers, Myers RV invites you to shop over 100 brands of travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes from all the leading manufacturers. Myers RV is the largest family-owned RV dealer in the Northeast, with over 2,000 new and used RVs in stock. Right now, all remaining 2024 models are being offered at drastically reduced prices. Myers RV has 3 convenient locations in Rochester to serve you. Just a quick trip east on the 90 to save you thousands. Online at MyersRVs.com. Go Bills!
Hi, I'm Dr. Todd Shatkin here with Hall of Fame running back Thurman Thomas.
My family and I have been coming to Dr. Shatkin's dental office for years. The office is beautiful and the staff is outstanding.
Thanks, Thurman. It's been an honor for me to take care of you and your family.
For a Hall of Fame smile, go where the pros go. Dr. Todd Shatkin at the Aesthetic Associates Center.
Call today for a free consultation, 839-1700.
All right, here we go. Good friend, longtime cohort. He is from CBS Sports and the occasional co-host of One Bills Live. So you may have seen him on television, like you are now, and you certainly have heard him on the radio on WGR on a fairly regular basis. Chris Trapasso joins us. Good to see you, Chris.
Hey, Rich. Thanks for having me, man.
Let's get in some Bills chat. I want to talk some individual players. I think a very puzzling part of this season for the Bills has been Mike Edwards. What in God's name happened here?
I'm not sure. And this is something that we've seen during the Bills, Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott tenure, that they're pretty tight-lipped about these things. And we haven't seen too many of these. Quentin Spain was another one that came up, the former left guard that had a quick falling out and then just was suddenly released in the middle of a season. It's not really one of those organizations that lets a lot of these things slip, or when there is a great culture guy, you don't really hear too much about why someone was maybe retained when they maybe shouldn't have been. Mike Edwards to me was that whole scenario. I think it kind of started with him getting injured in training camp, that he kind of got behind the 8 ball in terms of learning the safety spot. We know that Sean McDermott asked so much of the safeties in terms of positioning. I mean, he was talking about it with defensive line. But part of why Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde were so good was not because they were freaky athletes or they were huge or the fastest guys on the field, but they understood how to play off each other so well. So maybe getting behind the 8 ball there in training camp, not being able to play for those couple of weeks at St. John Fisher University really didn't help Mike Edwards learn the system. But to erase some safety depth getting into the second half of the season when your other safety on the roster currently is a rookie and Cole Bishop was pretty surprising to me. And maybe we will see Micah Hyde, get that call from Brandon Beane here down the stretch.
I'm going to throw Curtis Samuel into the Mike Edwards bin. What do you make of his deal?
It's been really surprising to me because we heard all about the connection to Joe Brady in Carolina. The career year happened with Joe Brady in Carolina. What I've noticed on film, and I don't know if this is something that's the Bills are trying to kind of keep him under wraps or hide this portion of the offense. Besides the gimmicky Isaiah McKenzie type stuff early in the season, most of the time when Curtis Samuel has been on the field, and it has not been very often since he's come back from that toe injury, when Josh Allen's dropping back to pass, if Curtis Samuel is on the left side of the field, Josh Allen's first read, right side of the field, and vice versa. It's not like he's the number one read in the progression. Really, the only game that we got to see that a little bit was the Monday night win over the Jets, where I think he had 3 catches. He had the one downfield, down the left sideline on kind of a scramble drill. So for a player that is getting paid more than any other receiver on the roster, it is surprising that he's not more featured and more of the first or second read in this offense. Let's see if that changes at all and the Bills kind of evolve their offense in the second half of this regular season.
For the people that are questioning the acquisitions, what would you say to that?
I think we have to realize that as a GM, it's kind of like baseball, that if you're batting 300 or 400, you're doing something right. I mean, there's, whether that's draft picks, free agent signings, trades, not going to hit every single one. And I think Brandon Beane would be the first one to kind of say, hey, like we didn't have or that wasn't a good signing. Signing Mike Edwards wasn't a good fit for whatever reason. And there's probably things behind the scenes. And if things don't change with Curtis Samuel, although obviously with him still being on the roster and being talented and with the connection to Joe Brady, I'm still holding out some hope that he can become a bigger part of the offense. And maybe it starts this weekend against the Colts.
Okay, excellent segue. What do you make of this game? I mean, it is definition trap game with Kansas City the following week. I mean, basically the midseason Super Bowl is the week after. I mean, this is definition trap game. So what do you make of the Colts game?
Well, you said off air to me, and I think it was spot on, that they're kind of a mysterious team. Like everything with the Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco saga, like that's one thing, but it's, if you ask even a pretty fervent NFL fan, name some players on the Colts. It's all right, Jonathan Taylor, and it's hard on both sides of the football. Have a pretty good offensive line. Quentin Nelson obviously is there. What I think fans need to know is this is a good defensive line, especially on the interior. Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner truly might be the best defensive tackle tandem in the AFC. They're totally different players. Buckner's like a bigger version of Greg Rousseau. He's tall, will get up the field, uses his long arms very well. Grover Stewart is kind of like, to use a throwback, like a Ted Williams or a Sam Adams type of big, bulky nose tackle.
That would be
really
Ted Washington. Ted Williams.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, kind of mix those together there. Ted Washington, Sam Adams. That big type of nose tackle, girthy, great run defender. So running against this team up the middle, and we know the Bills have been one of the run heavier teams, or run heavier than they've been, is not going to be a piece of cake. In terms of the pass rush and the secondary, I think they are vulnerable there, and we've seen some teams move the football very well. And if you get after Joe Flacco, you can see, what we would expect Joe Flacco would be at this stage of his career. If you let him sit and scan from in the pocket, because of that strong arm, and he's aggressive and he's kind of playing with, hey, what do I have to lose? I'm going to throw this football. He can make some plays and still throw an accurate ball.
Other than Kansas City and Baltimore, I still think the Bengals are something, the Texans, the Chargers, and Pittsburgh.
If I have to kind of rank these by defense, and it would definitely be that Houston, I think, can really get after it a little bit more than any of those other teams.
Interesting. So right now, this is maybe the toughest question of the entire interview. Who is in the Super Bowl?
I think the Lions are a true juggernaut in the NFC. And right now, I think really from the AFC, it's a toss-up between the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills. And I'm not picking the Chiefs, which I know seems like counter to everything.
I appreciate you doing this, man. Great to see you, and continue the great work.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Shatkin Jr., board-certified plastic surgeon. In addition to my many other aesthetic treatments, I'm now offering the revolutionary 4D facelift exclusively for you. Look your best in the new year. Make the resolution right now to give us a call at the Aesthetic Associates Center. Come in for a free consultation. Just mention Buffalo Healthy Living Magazine, 716-800-6026, and find out more at drshatkin.com.
Are you hungry? Eat! Stabilize your loose dentures with Shatkin mini dental implants.
My self-esteem wasn't where it should have been because I was really, really self-conscious about my teeth. When I walked into Shatkin Dental, I was instantly ready for the residency program. I knew that is what I needed. I needed the discount. I needed the dentist that was going to fix everything. My self-esteem is already getting much, much, much higher just from starting the procedures.
Call Shatkin Dental Health today at 43 Smile for quality dental care you can afford.
All right, welcome back to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. Time to go in the pocket. So it's Joe Flacco. He turns 40 in January. This is his 7th or 8th team. But, man, everywhere he's gone, I mean, he seems to sort of rejuvenate his career. But, you know, Shane Steichen there has really kind of screwed everything up. Well, Anthony Richardson screwed everything up for tapping out of a play. But now Flacco comes in, and pretty efficient as always. You know, what do you make of him, and what do you got to do?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, he's looked pretty efficient running that offense. I think maybe last Sunday night it might have been past his bedtime because he's getting old. He didn't look very interested. But, no, I think he's a good player. He runs that offense. I think they have a better chance right now to win with Flacco than they do Richardson, although I don't think they're really a playoff team, so I don't see why you wouldn't let Richardson get his growing pains. But that's their coaching decision. He's a new guy. So, yeah, I think if we can get some pressure on him, he's obviously not the most mobile guy. So keep him, get after him, send some blitzes, and see what we can do.
Yeah, make sure that play, we talked about the Miami game, make sure that run game doesn't get going with Jonathan Taylor.
Starts with stopping with JT because our run defense does not look good right now. So we got to stop Jonathan Taylor, although I have him in every fantasy league. I'm hoping he sucks this week, and then I think we can slow them down offensively.
Yeah, and you take that play action away. All right, nice job. Get rid of the ball. Time for the Mafia. All right, welcome back to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. The Mafia has assembled. We got Bob DeVita, who's a regular on the program. Obviously, you know Dr. Jared. You know Sam. You just saw him in the pocket. Tammy Shaw is here as well. Can we get a look at those boots? And where can we get our significant others or anyone else that wants some of those, Tammy? Those are epic. In addition to RIP, the Billy Shaw jersey. Yes. AFL Hall of Famer who recently passed. And Bob, you were even saying off mic before you saw him play at the Rock Pile back in the day. Mm-hmm. But first, let's just go to you guys in general and just kind of throw out anything. I'm not going to ask anyone in particular this question, but Bass, okay? How many of you, show of hands, thought that they were going to try a field goal there? Show of hands.
Not me.
Jared, I didn't either. He makes the kick.
If we were losing, I don't know if they would have. But because it was tied, I think.
Why not?
Yeah.
So I'll start with you, Bob. Has your level of confidence in Tyler Bass gone up? Still the same? He hit a 49-yard one in that game as well, despite the problems on the extra points.
I've always been a Bass fan. I know he's got a strong leg. He's always had a strong leg. 2 years ago, McDermott kind of got into his head, and there were situations where there were 50 to 50-yard kicks, and he didn't use them. Mm-hmm. Got inside his head. I'm convinced of it. And I still have faith in the kid. He nailed it. He nailed it by an extra 5 yards. I still think he could break the record, but he needs to work on extra points.
And I think it's more of a finesse thing with him. Like, I would love to see a guy, I'm just going to throw a name out there that's not playing. A guy like Mason Crosby, for instance, right, who's not playing anymore. Come in and just show him. He's got a huge leg. You don't have to use all of your leg and kick in an extra point, right? So a little bit of finesse. It's like the short game in golf, right? I mean, Sam, you're a golfer. You have to have some finesse. You have to have some touch. I think the same probably is true in terms of the field goal game. Tammy, what about you? Where's your level of confidence with Tyler Bass at this point? You good?
I knew he was going to make it.
Okay.
Because the man has one job. That's it. I think he went home and perfected that one job. And I knew he was going to make it. When he didn't make it before, that was Mother Nature's fault. I have faith in Tyler.
And who else watched the post game, the game ball presentation from Sean? Who welled? Who almost had? Right. Yeah. Right. Right. It was a little emotional. Right. But it felt good for. It was a. Talk about feel-good moments. That was a feel-good moment.
Brings a human aspect.
For sure. And you're a pro football player. You know how it is. Guys kind of go through their ups and downs. Jared, I'll go with you on this one. Again, the Bills, slow in terms of points first half. Second half, they pour on. I mean, is this just going to be the way the team is?
I mean, I hope not, because I think it can't really happen against, Kansas City or the Baltimores of the world. I think we'll be down pretty significantly at halftime, but I mean, a win is a win, and that was an awesome game to be at. It was a great atmosphere. It's a division win. You can't take anything away from them. Miami had some guys healthy that showed up and played healthy, so I think it ended up, we dug out of there and we got a good win at the end of the day.
Yeah, I would say the good fortune for the Bills is that the Dolphins didn't have Tua for as long as they did, because the way they looked against the Bills, Bob, the other day, they looked potentially dangerous going down the stretch. But they're so far back in the standings that at this point it may not even matter.
Yeah, I mean, Tua was 25, I think 28.
Yeah.
But they ran all over us.
149 yards rushing.
We need to work on our run game.
Yep. And,
we got to get us. I am not impressed with Von Miller. As far as I'm concerned, he's a bust. He's had 4 games to get ready again for his another stage, and they paid a lot of money for him, and he has had no impact in that game last Sunday. No impact. He was offsides.
Right.
At a crucial point, he was offsides.
Yeah, that's true. The Dolphins were excellent in that game, and that was kind of frightening to me, quite frankly. Let's move on now to the Colts, guys, and let's get a score prediction from you. And Tammy, I'm going to start first. Obviously, people use the term trap game. This is definition trap game, right? It's a team that's kind of all over the place. They got a 40-year-old quarterback under center. They've had the tumult with the quarterback situation there. A lot of injuries, but they still have Jonathan Taylor, who's a beast. What do you think? Bills-Colts road game prediction.
I think we're going to have at least 28, and they're going to have 10. And I predict Josh Allen to score because he is my fantasy football quarterback. So, Josh, run it in, and don't get any penalties because I don't want them to call that back.
Fantastic. 28-10 Bills. Bob?
I'm going to go Bills 31-20.
31-20.
I'll go Bills 31-17.
31-17. Okay, so pretty easy wins for the Bills on the road.
I'm not giving the Colts that many points because I have the Bills defense. So it's all about me.
I love it. Time now to try and eat. We're going to, thanks to you and Sorrentino's, we're going to see if everyone's going to eat with the crossovers, okay? You ready? Here we go. So these are
praying here that we don't get these right. Anymore.
That's why he hasn't been guessed.
Yeah.
So for those of you first-time watchers, basically this year we changed it up from last year. Last year and all the years previous, we've had trivia about the two teams. Now we're doing crossover players that played for both teams. So here we go. Question number 1. This South Carolina Gamecock was the number 10 overall pick of the Bills in 2012. Stephon Gilmore. Yeah. He had 2 and 22 for the Colts, 32 career picks. Now with the Vikings, you're 1 for 1. This Penn State linebacker, drafted by Kansas City, played for the Bills in the late 80s before he went to the Colts, and now, believe it or not, he's part of the design team for the new stadium. He wore 97, late 80s. Late 80s. He wore 90. Nope.
Bryce Ball?
Nope.
Penn State.
80s. This is a tough one.
Hutchinson?
Nope.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
No.
Oh.
Played for Kansas City, too.
Number 97. Did I say 87? Number 97.
But he's in 80, late 80s.
In late 80s, yep. Might have played for the first Super Bowl team. I'm not 100% on that.
I was thinking Joe Talamalair. I don't know his name.
I had to hit the buzzer. Scott Radisick. Scott Radisick. That was right up your alley there, old man. I know. This 3-time Pro Bowl tackle played for the Super Bowl Bills. Nope. Then played with the Colts, and then later ended his career with the Steelers.
That's
3-time Pro Bowl tackle for the Bills. Played in the Super Bowls.
Will Wolford.
Will Wolford. There you go. All right. Yes. 2 for 3.
Broke a streak of like 8.
Yeah, you had some hard ones.
Terrible.
Instead of a large pizza, you get a medium.
Yeah. Number 69. Left us first.
There you go. That's right. That's right. Guys, thank you as always. We appreciate you and, of course, Sorrentino's for feeding the fam. All right. We'll take a short break, and Dr. Jared and I will talk about the Bills and the Colts when we return on the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show.
I am so happy with my experience that I had at I Smile Spas today. Got my teeth professionally whitened. I have months of results in less than an hour. No pain, seriously, not even a sting. They're not sensitive. You leave with a kit to continue your whitening. Absolutely incredible. I'm so happy I ever did this. I can't stop smiling.
Western New York. Smile again with confidence. Call 43SMILE today.
It means a lot to be able to work with my dad to continue this legacy that we have going on.
I had many implants. Once I got them, it was like the old me came back.
The changes you can make in such a short period of time in somebody's life, have somebody in the chair crying because they finally have a full set of teeth. And I think the only way to do it in that type of time period for that type of price is really the mini implant.
Mini dental implants can change your life too. Call us at 839-1700 for a free consultation.
Welcome back to the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show. Now the Colts in the background as the Bills travel to Indy. It's the 7-2 Bills and the 4-5 Colts in definition. Jared, trap game. I mean, right? Here's the Colts that, they bench Anthony Richardson because of the tap out on a player. Now they got a almost 40-year-old quarterback in. You really don't know what they're going to be able to do. They lose to the Vikings, and they didn't look very good against the Vikings, I thought. And, of course, the Bills, after the Colts, get Kansas City at home. So major trap game, and the Bills are only 4-point favorites, shockingly, going into this game. Let's talk a little bit about it. Let's start, obviously, with the Colts. We cannot, bottom line, let Jonathan Taylor run, pun intended, this game.
No, he's done it to us before in 2001 or 2021, where he ran all over this defense. We have to tighten up, and we got to get better play from that interior D line. I was talking about the linebackers also. Dorian Williams had a couple mistakes in that Dolphins game. I think he needs to play downhill this game, and we got to attack Jonathan Taylor right when he gets the ball and not let him get going, because he is a real load to bring down.
Look, I mean, the Colts are pretty talented on the receiver core, right? They got Pittman, they got Alec Pierce, they got Josh Downs. They got some good receivers for Flacco. Again, though, it does start with Jonathan Taylor. Defensively, the Bills and Colts are kind of in the same spot. The Bills are 8th in the league, the Colts 12th in the league. And look, the Colts, in a bad division, it bodes them well to win this game and play spoiler, because look at their schedule coming up. They get the Jets, Detroit, New England, and Denver. So Detroit's probably the outlier in that group, but if they win those other 3 games, conference games in the division they're in, Houston is arguably in trouble, not having Diggs and still not Nico Collins. Offensively, they still have Mixon, but they have some issues. The Colts, it would bode them well to win this game and play spoiler.
Yeah, I think that's probably why they put Joe Flacco in there, because they started to realize that the Texans were having some issues injury-wise, and they could get a couple wins going on. And I think the Colts do have a formula, if they play well, to win this game.
Sure.
If they run the ball well, if they get the ball quickly to their playmakers, they have a good chance to come in and beat the Bills, but I do think they could have a pretty good game plan this
Very
game.
active defense. 12 players on their defense have been credited with a sack on their defense. So very, very active defense. That's something, of course, Joe Brady, of course, will have had to look at on tape going into this game and prepare for sure. Let's get your pick for this game. Bills and Colts, what do you think?
So I like the Bills in a little bit of a closer game. I like it 24-21.
24-21. I'll take the Bills 34-20. I just don't think the Colts and Joe Flacco's enough. I think the Bills will be able to generate. I think Russo's going to have the game that he's needed to have over the last couple. I think Epinesa shines, and maybe even Von Miller comes out and has a big game. Pressure package from the Bills against them, I think. And I think they slow down Jonathan Taylor a bit as well. I like the Bills 34-20. All right, thanks to Aesthetic Associates, Shatkin Dental, Dr. Todd Shatkin, Sorrentinos and Myers, to Dr. Jared, the Mafia, of course, Sam Castronova, the crew, and you for watching. Go Bills! Bills Colts coming up. This has been the Shatkin First Down Buffalo pregame show.
In the Pocket is sponsored by Mini Dumpster Rental. Call 716-429-6362. This has been a production of the Shatkin Sports Network.